Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And this weekend is a little bit different, so I am doing a long weekend. So my second favorite style of cruise is a 4-night cruise that leaves on Thursday and comes back in Monday morning. And with that, I drove over to Tampa, Florida to join the Brilliance of the Seas. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Brilliance of the Seas and more specifically, Radiance Class ships, because I think a lot of people out there aren't really as familiar with this class of ship and some of the old world charm that it really offers. Now, the Radiance Class ships compose of 4 different ships for Royal Caribbean. You're going to have the Brilliance of the Seas that I'm on. You're going to have the Radiance of the Seas, which was the first cruise ship to come out and the name of the class. You're going to have the Serenade of the Seas, and you're going to have the Jewel of the Seas. So those are the 4 ships. They're going to total about 90,000 tonnage, so it is a smaller ship, and it's going to carry approximately 2,500 guests at maximum capacity with an additional 850 crew members supporting those 2,500 maximum guests. These ships were built around 2001 to 2004, and so they're going to be a little bit older. As you may have seen from taking an Oasis Class or a Quantum Class, ships have gotten tremendously bigger and they've become a lot more modern and contemporary in their looks. If you're looking for something with more of that old world or old cruise ship kind of charm to it, the Radiance Class, including the Brilliance of the Seas, is going to be probably my absolute favorite ship. Now, to start out with, there's some key differences that I really appreciate about this style ship. And the first thing is it has a Centrum. So before, there was this long drawn-out promenade that takes up the middle of the ship on Freedom Class and the Oasis Class. You had a Centrum. Now, this is traditionally going to be midship by the elevators, and it is a gathering spot at the middle of the ship for people to meet. You have your entertainers, you'll do trivia, you have all sorts of great events that go on in the middle of this Centrum. And it's called the Centrum because it's a cylinder that goes all the way up in the middle section of the ship that you can look down to the Centrum all the way up from deck 13. So you can look down. If you do happen to be up on deck 13, you can see one of the old school purposes for the Centrum, and they don't do this one anymore, unfortunately, but they used to have aerialists that would come down from deck 13 and perform stunts from the middle of the Centrum. I think there may have been some safety issues. Not sure when they got rid of that. I personally never got the chance to see that show, but would have loved to have seen the aerialist in the Centrum performing. Because it doesn't have that promenade, you're also going to have hallways that go along the side of the ship. Now, these hallways that you're going to follow to get to the main restaurants and the different locations on the ship, they have a lot of old wood, a lot of old kind of characteristics such as older ships. You've got some navigational signs, things of that nature that are reminiscent of old school cruising. It's also going to allow you to have plenty of glass so that you can look out. Because the hallway is now pushed to the side of the ship versus the promenade being in the middle, everywhere you go, for the most part, you're going to be able to see the light coming in. You're going to be able to look out directly to the ocean, which is one of the huge selling points of a Radiance Class ship. Even from the elevators, they were specifically designed so that when you stand in the elevator, you're still looking outside to see the beautiful water, which is honestly what we're all paying for here, is those amazing views. As you walk towards the back, now this is something that is old world, but may seem, normal to a lot of you, is it's going to be the first cruise ship that had a self-leveling pool table. Now, these are free of charge. You don't have to pay money to play the 2 different pool tables at the back of the ship, but they are self-leveling, meaning that as we're rocking on this ship, I don't know if you can see me rocking from this video or tell that we're moving around some, your pool balls are going to stay exactly where they're at because the pool table is going to automatically level with the movement of the ship, which is a really, really neat feature, and not sure why it took so long to come up with that, but I love it. Going back even further, so you move past the pool tables, you go into the Colony Club. And this is another great meeting spot where they're going to do the art auction. You're going to have karaoke, you're going to have trivia and the top tier event. But this room, if you look at it, has dark wood all over it, and it really reflects what I feel like an old school cruise ship experience would have been back in the day. It's also got incredible views from the back of the ship. So if you want to hang out there during the day, I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I don't know why. I think it's one of the best spots, number one, to stay warm if you're in a colder climate. But number two, the views and seeing the wake in the back of the ship are always going to be one of my favorites. The last really, really nice thing about this ship is the solarium. So the solarium on this ship was built, as I just mentioned, for a colder climate. So you're gonna walk into the solarium, and number one, you're gonna have an actual bar on the side where people are going to gather and hang out. It's not in the middle of the ship, but it's more of an actual bar feel, which I personally appreciate. And it's going to have a glass roof or dome to it. So this is a retractable roof, but most of the time I've always found it's going to be closed. I think it costs a lot of money, and it is a little bit older, so they don't open it as much as they used to. But in cold climates, such as this sailing in February, where it's getting pretty cool even in the Caribbean, they take these ships to Alaska and some different spots. It's going to give you an area where you can still lay out, you can still get in the pool, in the hot tub, and not be freezing cold when you come out because it's an enclosed space. Looking around this room as well, you're going to see the elephants in the middle of the pool, and it's just got a lot of little touches that you don't see on some of the bigger ships these days, which are more modern in feel. This definitely has that old world kind of feel to it that I really appreciate when coming into a Radiance Class ship. So it's for all of those reasons that I love the Radiance Class ship, especially just changing it up from a more modern, contemporary, newer ship that Royal Caribbean is really known for. I also don't like to forget that they have these wonderful smaller ships that are going to be able to go to cooler climates and more exotic locations because they're smaller and can get into the more unique ports. Now, if you want to compare the Radiance Class ship to a Freedom Class ship, check out my video of a promenade tour on the Freedom of the Seas. That's going to really show you the difference between having that Centrum and hallway model to what a promenade really has to offer. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.